Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at another Mattel Jurassic World Attack Pack figure for the new Dino Rivals line, and it is the second new Attack Pack figure, and it is the new color scheme of the Herrerasaurus. Again, as far as the box goes, it's exactly the same as the Coelurus was, where you get an image of the other Attack Pack figures that are currently out. And then inside you see the figure itself, and you've got a nice little shot there with the card in the background. So let's get it open and take a look. So there is the Herrerasaurus' card. Definitely very cool artwork. I have noticed a few incorrect areas as far as these cards go, where like you look at the Parasaurolophus and it had predator hands, and then if you look at the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which I actually didn't notice initially looking at the card, but if you look at the T-Rex card, it actually has 3 fingers instead of 2. No idea how a mistake like that could happen, but this Herrerasaurus does look like it's pretty good as far as everything goes, and the card does include the stats, which it actually has some pretty decent stats, all fairly about the same, and then Dino Rivals Jurassic World on the back. So again, beautiful cards, love the cards, and the fact that they are included in these figures. And there is the new Herrerasaurus. I honestly really love the fact that they are producing Herrerasaurus figures, simply because it's such a cool species that doesn't really get too many figures. So for the Jurassic World line to be including some, I really love that. And it's not the most appealing sculpt, and again, I have reviewed the sculpt of this before, so I won't review it again. If you do want to see a more detailed review of the actual sculpt, check the description, as I will include links to the previous reviews that included the Herrerasaurus. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of the overall sculpting, but it's not bad. I think it looks pretty good. But we are here to focus basically on anything that is new, so let's get a closer look. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can again see the teeth are pretty nicely painted. They look pretty good. The eye actually looks really quite nice and has that slit type of a snake eye, very predator-like. And I think the eye overall does look really quite nice, and it's not sloppily painted, which is a plus. A lot of the time the eye isn't even hitting the mark of where the eye should be, but it is really quite nicely placed on this Herrerasaurus figure. Again, as with all of these Herrerasaurus figures, they do have the articulated jaw. You see the inside is a pinkish coloration, but it does look pretty good. The upper part of the inside of the mouth has no paint at all, so it's really only included on the skin flap here and the tongue itself. And then of course the teeth are pretty nicely painted. They appear to be a little bit sloppy, but nothing terrible. So the new paint scheme is basically you've got this very dark green for the head, and that is the only coloration really included on the head. But then you get back and there's a different shade of green once you hit the neck. It's kind of like a forest green type of a color. And then you've got this almost a metallic type of a blue, which I did not actually expect to look too good on this, but it really does honestly look really quite nice. It really complements the green quite nicely, and I definitely really like it. Then you've got this lighter green here for the majority of the rest of the body, as far as the coloration goes. And again, the paint only runs down to about mid-stomach. For some reason runs completely over the hip. There's actually a significant distance between the paint and the actual leg and hip thigh area. And then it runs about halfway through the tail. Kind of becomes a little splotchy here at the end, but it does look pretty good. There are again some of those speckles throughout the body that you do see on a lot of the Mattel figures that help to give it a little bit of variation of color where you don't normally have a lot of paint on them. The legs appear to be a slightly different shade as opposed to the body, which is very common again with Mattel also. No nails have any paint whatsoever, which is also very Mattel to do. But overall, I definitely actually really quite like the paint scheme. It's pretty darn nice. And there is the Jurassic Facts app code if you want to add this to your collection. As far as articulation goes, you've got the articulation in the neck, the articulation in the jaw, which mine is actually pretty stiff, articulated arms, both arms, the legs also move quite nicely, and then a swivel for the tail. This is the third, actually, Herrerasaurus that we have. I believe we had a green one previously, then we had a reddish type of a one, and now we've got this one. So, a few different versions of this Herrerasaurus, all again, not the most appealing figure in the world, but again, not bad. I still really quite like it. It's definitely a fairly decent sculpt, just not the best one in the world. As far as the size goes, onto the Herrerasaurus from the tail to the head, you're looking at about 7 inches pretty much on the dot, or about 18 centimeters. And for a height, a little over 3 inches, or just under 8 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is the Papo T-Rex, once again showing his dominance in the dinosaur world and completely towering over this smaller Attack Pack Herrerasaurus. Once again, they are not to scale with each other, but this should, as always, give you a pretty good idea of the size of this figure. It's pretty much the same size as all of the other Attack Packs, so if you have previously purchased an Attack Pack figure, you'll have a pretty darn good idea of the size of this Herrerasaurus. This paint job does look really quite nice. Again, surprisingly nice. The promotional images kind of didn't look that great to me. I wasn't too interested in this figure, but actually getting it now and getting it home out of the box and everything, I'm much more impressed with it than I expected to be, and the paint looks a lot nicer again than I expected it to look. So it is definitely a pretty cool addition to the Jurassic World toy line, something that I think people would really quite like if you do go ahead and find one in store. Again, these Wave 2 Attack Pack figures for the Dino Rivals line have just recently started to hit stores, so I actually had a pretty easy time finding this and the Coelurus, but that may not mean that everyone will. However, they should be really quite common in your store very soon, as they are just now coming out, so with time they will become a little bit more easily accessible. They're not online on Walmart's website yet, unfortunately. Again, the only way to really get one is to try to search one out in your local store. You may be able to find them actually at Target as well, so that's always a possibility. Either way, if you do want to find it, happy hunting, guys, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.